Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the broadcast. A small group of police officers from the drug squad of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force were spotted on duty patrolling the George Charles Boulevard in Marcia, and the Hot 7 News team sprung into action following them as they carried out their duties. Rochelle Gonzalez was on the scene and filed this report.
As part of their community policing efforts, the drug unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force took to the Marcia Boulevard, the George Charles Boulevard, to conduct routine checks to ensure that all is going well in the community and to also have one-on-one conversations with the residents. The walkthrough was seemingly successful and peaceful as residents appeared to be calm and cooperative. The police allowed our Hot 7 cameras to follow them in the process, as the main aim is community togetherness, as well as to form a cohesive bond between the media and the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. For Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez reporting from the Marcia community.
Thank you, Rochelle. The details surrounding a video showing what appears to be some sort of figure on top of a tree has been making the rounds on social media. Accompanying messages to the video allude that it depicts what is described in the local parlance as Maginoué. The viral spread of the video has warranted a response from a local clergyman who urges members of the public to focus their time and energy away from occult beliefs.
Whether we believe it or not, it is here with us because of the presence of the voodoo and those things, and the obia and those things. They are all present with us. But I think that it is only when you believe in those things that works for you. But if you don't believe, you will not feel it at all. Some people, they come to me, somebody is bewitching me, somebody is obia me voodoo, somebody has taken me to voodoo, and those things. And I tell them that if you do not believe in those things, it will never work against you. So whether we believe it or not, those things are there because as human beings, we are composed of physical and spiritual. So there are spiritual elements, but unless you believe in those things. But if you do not believe in those things and you think God is supreme, then you don't waste time on those things.
In the 29-second video, it is unclear whether it is early morning or evening. Dogs can be heard howling in the background as the being moves about and eventually moves out of sight from the camera. Island education has found itself on the front burner of conversation following recent statements by Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley. She views the age of 10 to 11 years as too young of an age for students to make life decisions, referencing the Common Entrance examination. However, the president of the South Castries Youth and Sports Council, Robert Rennie, sees Common Entrance as the doorway to vast opportunities for young minds. Solange Alfred tells us more.
You have heard us speak over and over about the fact that the government is now committed to the removal of the Common Entrance exam, which seeks to relegate people to stations of life or to opportunities or no opportunities depending on where they go after the Common Entrance. 10 or 11 years old is too young to ask a child to determine what their life should look like for the rest of their life.
That was Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, in her recent address of the nation to the Barbadian citizenry. Mottley recently succeeded Prime Minister Alan Shastney as chair of CARICOM. The discussions outlined by Mottley for the education sector in Barbados will center on the removal of Common Entrance and the introduction of middle schools, schools of excellence, and also expanding primary education. However, President of the South Castries Youth and Sports Council, Robert Rennie, is not of the same opinion as Mottley.
I do believe that the education system does need some sort of revamping. What we have come to understand is that in every facet of education, there must be some form of assessment. We must be able to assess our students and ascertain whether or not they have learned what they have been taught. I don't necessarily believe that the Common Entrance exam is really telling a student that, hey, you are, because you have passed the Common Entrance exam or you have high grades, it means that, the teachers are saying or the educators are saying that we are putting you, or we are setting you up to have a great life or that sort of thing, as in what the Prime Minister said. Like I said, I do believe that some sort of revamping must take place. I do believe that the Common Entrance exam, the purpose for the Common Entrance exam, of course, was to, one, ascertain whether or not the students have been learning what they have been taught.
He goes on to applaud St. Lucia's zoning process that seemingly removes the marginalization and discrimination for students who score lower grades on the Common Entrance examination. Rennie says equal opportunity for students exists at all secondary schools.
At the end of the day, yes, you would want to encourage students to be high achievers, but you have to also encourage them and tell them that even if you are not a high achiever now, it does not necessarily mean that your life will not turn out to be good. It just means that you may have been a victim of your own circumstances in your own home or whatever your circumstance, but you still have an opportunity when you go to secondary school, because the curriculum, whether you go to St. Joseph's Convent, whether you go to Cyrus Simmons, whether you go to any, the curriculum is the same. The educators have to, they go through the same process of determining the suitability of the teachers. So the teachers that are in the schools, the ministry do what they have to do to ensure that the teachers are qualified to teach the subjects that they are teaching. So regardless of where you go, it really means a student determines where they go in life. That's what it is. The student determines that based on their attitude towards their schoolwork.
All eyes will be on Barbados to bear witness if the Caribbean island will be the first to eliminate common entrance examinations. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Now the public is weighing in on the recent statements made by Barbados's Prime Minister on the topic of education. She says the government of Barbados will be holding serious discussions to advance the agenda for the removal of the common entrance examination in Barbados. Solange Alfred reached out to the public to get their views on the matter.
Common entrance is viewed by many as a rite of passage for young scholars. On the other hand, some view the nerve-wracking assessment examination as undue stress placed on young minds. In a State of the Nation address, Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley says the common entrance examination for Barbadian students may be hindering real progress of budding minds and alludes to possibly doing away with the examination for Barbados. So we reached out to the St. Lucian public to share their thoughts on common entrance, asking should it become a thing of the past. This is what they had to say.
No, I don't think so. So it's been there from the longest while, so I don't know what reason they have right now to put it away. So if they have to put it away, what they'll replace it with what? So my personal opinion, they should have it going as it is.
As far as I'm concerned, whoever deciding on taking out common entrance, making the little children worse than they are already, because they already don't know nothing. Some of them can't even write their own name, right? And then to take out common entrance to them, what they're looking forward to study for? Just go to another school and waste parents' money? That doesn't make sense to me.
If I think they should do with it, that means I'm a madman, okay? Because you cannot tell me that you're taking out something that can qualify somebody to do something. Now, when you take that out, what is the person going to do? Universal education is already a chaos thing, right? People can just go to secondary school, they can't even read, they can't even properly read. And when you take out common entrance, where you put in them? You see what they're doing? I'm sorry.
First thing you need to ask yourself is if common entrance is a life decision, and then take it from there. For me, it is not a life decision. It is just a step in the right direction. It's a guide. It acts as the guide. It gives you an insight into what it is that you're interested in. People tend to change their path. Even at college, even at university, people change their path and then realize that it's not what they want to do. So I think it's just some form of stability that you give a child that, hey, at least if you do change your mind, you can go elsewhere, but there's something to start off with. And it's basically a guide. I don't think it's something that should be changed immediately because it helps a lot of people, especially in our developing states. We're not privileged as the US or the UK, where they can just get up and change their goals, and we don't have that opportunity. So I think it is something in the right direction where they have the opportunity to do that level of education. I think it's too quick for us as a country, basically.
Common entrance because besides the children have to better their studies, they have to go to other bigger schools so they could get a good job. So the common entrance is very good, and we in St. Lucia will not get our common entrance. So the common entrance is good. The children be more educated. They're able to learn more better. So when they go and get a good job, they're able to do the job they ought to do.
What I say, as she say, I will agree with her, because sometimes those children does be so young also. Maybe at least if this been like this, maybe at least I could say at least 14 years, 13 to 14, but sometimes I see even children 11 years for common entrance already. Maybe a long time they didn't used to keep them back in our country, because they have a space for everybody. As I remember all the prime ministers that was there, you have a space for everybody. Mother spend your money, but sometimes a lot of them does look too young also. And the other problem with the children too, the type of books, to see those little children, you know, even though sometimes you have the age, you have the education, but the books, they have to do something else. If you have to put all the story in the computer for them, it will be better for them to carry all those useless books on their back.
Well, when I did common entrance, it was extremely nerve-wracking. It felt like a life decision that I had to make. It was very important for me to decide on what school that I wanted to go to. I believe that 11 or 12-year-old, that is a good age for someone to decide what they want to do next in their future. It actually gives them that form of independence, that feeling of independence. It helps them to begin making life decisions at such a young age, and I think it's a good age to start doing common entrance and make that decision.
In her address, Motley says the discussions will include possibly expanding primary education, creating middle schools and centers of excellence. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Sola Jalfred.
Those were your views. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.